Hi again. My name is Robert Thomas DeVincentis, and I'm the author of the Book of Kings, which deals with America's own aftermath science. And I'm a historian of historical origins on 4 subjects that are in the book, which is science, nature, man, and God. Okay, just recently we were talking about science, modern science, and I give them credit for many things, their technologies and medicines and things like that they've built up over the years. However, when it comes to sciences outside of that, I think they're going to get an F, a failing grade. We started eventually before with Galileo, and we showed where he was off, that really the earth really was the center of God's entire universe at one time, and the oldest object. And then God made those planets and moon and sun and all those things afterwards. And then we go around the planets, which he was correct, around the sun. So we went all through that, and then we discussed whether or not there was anything living on any of these planets or whatever. And the answer is no. There's nothing out there. I don't need to spend all kinds of money on those kinds of things or they're going to spend it anyway, but I'm just saying just to prove the point that there isn't anything there. Because this is the land of the living, not out there. I'm sorry. You can have a great imagination. You could say there's millions of stars and galaxies with Earth or things like Earth, planets. But you're not going to find anything living, not in your lifetime. And what happens is science captures everybody with miscommunications on stuff, and then you're stuck in it for almost 100 years before somebody else comes along in the same scientific community and then says, oh no, it's different and it wasn't like that, so it's all subject to change and it's all theories. And where I am the author of Aftermath Science, which is completely different, miraculous creation made out of nothing, science, and then the nature of things come about by a predisposition. And everything that you see growing or whatever comes about and brings about the same things over and over and over. That's a predisposition. And so science has led everybody astray, and many times in their dealings. I believe they did that with evolution totally. That man wasn't something that came out of the water. Come on, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? And then developed the species all different and they all come together. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. You'd almost have to go back to the times of the pharaohs when they had magicians and people of that nature that were just, so full of their gods and their things that they believed in. And basically we're saying the same thing here. Can you believe that? They're now saying that the Big Bang Theory, they had movies on it, and they had a program called The Big Bang with all these scientists and all these young kids and everything. And now it's defunct. Now they said, oh, we got a better telescope, and we went out there and we saw other galaxies. Now we know. So what about the intelligent design that we had to go through the courts? It's just a little bit of those scientists giving a little bit of notoriety to God, which is impossible for them. Because once they admit God, well then, that's the end of it. You think about that for a minute. That happens in the realities of time and what's happened here. Same thing about Jesus Christ. Oh, was he really the Messiah? Oh, if we admit that, they'll take this place away from us. And yet that was the Jewish Messiah that came. Okay, so in history, there's all kinds of things. People coming up to people and saying, who are you? Are you John the Baptist or whatever? And then they'll say, well, why? If you say something, they're going to say, well, why didn't you believe in it yourself? because that leaves the door open for them to have a mistake that's made, so they don't lose their notoriety and actually say that. But you can't go out in the cosmos and not believe that God didn't make that, at least. I mean, come on, it's, everything they're saying now. So the Big Bang, now think about this for a minute. You're an intelligent person. I said you're better than AI and quantum AI. I'm better than that. But what I'm going to tell you is that, see, those kinds of things that are man-made can't come to the conclusion of what I'm saying. So if you took the Big Bang Theory, now think about this. You're saying, light took billions of years to get here, light years and everything. Okay, if it started out from one point and light's being spread out from the blast, from this big explosion, right? Well, then the light was there all the time. You didn't have to wait for it to come back. It was already there. Unless you're saying the Big Bang Theory was greater than the speed of light, which it would be. So you're trying to say that the way the universe is and the way it's made and everything, and the way things are so perfect going around and everything, it's not something haphazardly that you could do with a bomb or something that's exploding, and then just all kinds of stuff that you get caught up with from science. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm just pointing out a few things, like, the moon came from our Earth, something crashed into it. Something crashed into the Earth, it'd be in pieces all over the place, and it'd be floating around the sun. Nothing perfectly is going to come out of that. It's absolutely ridiculous and preposterous. But you're expecting to believe that. So the Big Bang Theory, just incredible. Nobody knows how big space is. I mean, science could try to say, there's a cap on it. Well, okay, so now they got defunct on their Big Bang, and now they're expecting you to wait around for them to come up with some other crap that you're going to get stuck in for another 100 years, which is taking you away from God. And I've explained this many, many times. There's nothing out there that's going to attack you. There's no war of the words like worlds of like Orson, whatever his name was, the guy that wrote that or did it on the radio. The only war of the worlds is that when the angels fight in the end. And that's, if you want to call that the war of worlds, you can. So God's not going to take your focus off of this world, and there's nothing out there. And again, if I said, Christ and God dwelled here on earth, they didn't dwell out there. This is the main place. And the Holy Bible and all the things that we have concerning that take place here on earth. So the heavens and the earth, they're all connected. Time, there's no difference in time out there. The physics that we have here are the same physics out there. I suppose there might be something different as you maybe get a little more closer to the center with gravity. So now they're proclaiming black holes, which I never agreed with that either. Because if you really think about it, there's no such thing. You're claiming something that you can't even get near, and if you did get near enough, you get sucked into it. And you're a bad witness again. A bad witness, a terrible witness. Because when you look out, it's two-dimensional. When you start looking at all the clouds of stars, there are light years differences in between them, and thousands and millions of miles or hundreds of thousands of miles in between those. So you're getting a one-dimensional view, and even with the telescope, unless you can get past all that, unless you can get some kind of probe or something, then maybe you're getting some kind of three-dimensional look at something. But other than that, you're like a deer in the headlights. So at any rate, what's the whole purpose of what I'm talking about today? The purpose of what I'm talking about is that people are getting caught up in the science realm today of hysteria. global warming. That's a hysteria to many degrees. I mean, sure, you want to take good care of the planet, and God didn't make this planet so you're going to die here. Eventually, yeah, the planet may go through certain changes and things like that, but that's way off in the future. So the time and the things that are being spoken of on all these video films and other things about how the earth is in trouble and how the planets and everything else is falling apart and everything's drifting away and we're in such bad shape, oh woe is us. No, that is a bunch of crap, and you're falling into that. So that's why I'm here. I'm a contradiction to what it is that people believe in that are in that realm. I'm a terror to them. They're not going to give me any credence of anything. They'll say, oh, you don't have the education. You don't have the doctorate degrees. Well, guess what? You ever see tar, if you handle it or something like that, it's going to rub off on you some way or another. So it's the people that you hang around with. So if I say, I didn't have to go to your school. I went to a different school where I got hundreds, thousands of witnesses that were here on this planet that spoke about the things on this planet, spoke about the things of God in relationship to that. And those are my teachers. They're greater than any professor in any college or university. Greater. That's right. They think they know the law. You don't know the law. You have no idea what you're talking about. I went over that too. You don't know about other beings out there that are greater than God himself and the humans that God had created here. Even though we're lower than the angels, we're crowned with the glory. And then when God enters into his own creation via the woman, the Virgin Mary, and becomes a man, oh boy, now look out. No one's going to beat that, are they? I don't think so. So you need to bring your thoughts back to earth. This is your home. Science is not your God. Science is a gift from God concerning the things he made, but we don't have the toolbox to figure out all the things that God made because they were miraculously made. We can't explain time, space, the number of stars. You're going to have scientists that are going to say, oh yeah, this is how it happened in an inversion, or the speed is greater than the time is going to change. No, it's not. It's the same time here as it is out there. And it's all going to come to an end someday, and that is true. But those are things that God doesn't want you to worry about. He wants you to be educated, smart, and realize that Moses was given the blueprint of how God made everything, and that was in the books and everywhere else for the last couple 1,000 years or whatever since Moses. It would be like 6,000 years probably. But at any rate, and that's not going to go away. So you have a time in history where, science is the big shot now. The big focus is on them and whatever they say. And everything that you learn from God and his word, which is not going away. It's stronger than the heavens. And God proclaims his word's going to be here. Even though everything's going to pass away, his words will not. So I said, I'm a historian of historical origins, and there's no one like me on the face of the earth. You better believe it. You're not going to find anybody like me on those 4 subjects. So take your time, think about what you're doing and what you're allowing to enter into your mind. And you're not in a scary world. You're in a world where God loves you and he has not abandoned his people. So have a blessed evening.